Good morning, and thank you for joining me to discuss the dangers of driving under the influence. I am Senator Donzella James, and I represent the 35th Senate District of Georgia. I am joined by others who care about road safety, including this outstanding organization, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. You see, Georgia had some of the weakest drunk driving laws in the country not too long ago. However, throughout my time at the state capitol, we've made strides to increase the penalties for those who drive under the influence of alcohol and drugs. I am proud of our work, but I want to call on my colleagues to support legislation that we must enact so that we can reduce wasteful, life-threatening crimes like drinking and driving. You see, it's a real sin when you drink and then become impaired and choose to get behind the wheel of a car. So today we have two bills moving through the legislative process that aim to make Georgia's roads safer for generations to come. Senate Bill 41 will require those who have been convicted of endangering a child while under the influence to have an interlock device installed on their ignition. This will require the offender to be under the legal limit in order to start their vehicle. We also have someone who has the interlock business because it is already a law in Georgia, but it's not strong enough. We want to deter those who drink or use drugs and then drive from getting behind the wheel of a car, endangering themselves and everyone else on the road. Also, Senate Bill 44 also targets those individuals who endanger children while driving under the influence. This legislation seeks to penalize those who transport a child under the age of 16 while under the influence. Right now we have a law for interlock that says if a child is under 13, then they will have to have an interlock put on their cars in order to drive. But you have to be 16 before you can get a driver's license in the state of Georgia. So this doesn't make sense. We have to protect those young people who can't make those decisions to get their own car and drive. Both of these bills are presently in the Special Judiciary Committee of the State Senate, where they will be perfected and passed and become law. So make no mistake, these bills target those who put others in danger with their own irresponsible decisions to drive under the influence. We have young people who have joined us, who are high school students at Milton High School. We want to make sure that we protect them and that they protect us while they're driving on the roads as well. So this is a win-win situation when these bills are passed and become law. I've been fortunate enough to work with the premier organization concerning drunk driving, and that's Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Their advice and guidance has been instrumental to me and to all of the legislators during this entire process. I am thankful for their cause and for their interest in making Georgia a safer place. You see, I too am a victim like many who stand here today. We have either been involved in a crash where someone was drinking or driving, or like me, my whole life changed when a drunk driver who was a habitual drunk driver chose to get behind the wheel of a car again and crash into my son and he took Carrie's life. So yes, I have a personal stake in this as well, as so many of us do. I'd like to thank all of the senators who co-sponsored this legislation of both bills, because without their support, we will not be able to tackle the serious issues that could ultimately affect all Georgians. I will yield now to this wonderful organization who is with us right now. and that is Mothers Against Drunk Driving. I will call now on Ms. Cynthia Hagan, who will introduce the next three speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator James. My name is Cynthia Hagan, and I'm the State Victim Service Coordinator for Mothers Against Drunk Driving out of the Georgia affiliate office. Like Senator James, my own family was killed 15 years ago today by an underage drunk driver. Not a day goes by that I don't think if an interlock had been on his car, he would have not been able to start it. And also, that drunk driver was killed as well. So it's not just people who get hit by drunk drivers. Sometimes the drunk drivers are killed as well. And this needs to stop. I'm proud to introduce your first speaker today, and that is our Executive Director for, again, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, the Georgia affiliate office, Ms. Emily Kleins.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak today in support of Senate Bill 41, requiring intermission interlocks, also known as in-car breathalyzers, for all convicted drunk drivers. Mothers Against Drunk Driving commends the determination and leadership of Senator James in authoring this piece of legislation. Senator James, MAD thanks you for your support and being a champion for the rights of victims. In November 2006, MAD launched his campaign to eliminate drunk driving throughout the United States, which includes support for all offender intermission interlock laws. Prior to the campaign launching in 2006, only one state, New Mexico, had a law requiring intermission interlocks for all first-time convicted drunk drivers. Now 13 states and a pilot program in California have laws requiring or highly incentivizing interlock usage for all first-time convicted DUI offenders. MAD's support of Senate Bill 41, requiring intermission interlocks for all convicted drunk drivers, is simple. It's about saving lives. Countless studies show that intermission interlock devices for all convicted DUI offenders is the most highly effective tool available to stop drunk driving. In New Mexico, drunk driving arrests are down statewide by 37%. Alcohol-involved crashes are down by 31%, and alcohol-related fatalities are down by nearly 30%. In Arizona, drunk driving fatalities have dropped by 46% since their interlock law. Drunk driving is a violent crime, but it is ultimately 100% preventable crime. Senate Bill 41 is needed as Georgia motorists share the roadway with over 45,000 drunk drivers with 3 or more convictions and almost 6,000 with 5 or more convictions. In 2009, in Georgia, 331 people were killed in drunk driving crashes. By advancing Senate Bill 41, we can send a clear message to drunk drivers. If they violate the public's trust by driving drunk, they will receive an intermission interlock or an in-car breathalyzer on their vehicle. Please note that these devices will not be in for a lifetime for a convicted drunk driver. Depending on the offense, these devices will be in for at least 6 months. Some may argue that requiring intermission interlocks for first-time offenders is too harsh. This is not the case. We know that the average first-time offender has driven drunk before. One particular study showed drunk drivers getting on the road of an average of 87 times before their first arrest. We know it's not enough to simply revoke the license of a convicted drunk driver. Studies show that 50 to 75% of convicted drunk drivers continue to drive even while their license is suspended. This is the reason that interlocks are so critical to protecting the public. In conclusion, Mothers Against Drunk Driving ask you to support Senate Bill 41 that requires interlocks for all convicted drunk drivers. The support of this concept is simple. It's about saving lives. Thank you.
I'd now like to ask an interlock representative, Mr. David Contreras, to come to the stage.
Cynthia, thank you. My name is David Contreras, and I'm the Vice President of Operations for Guardian Interlock. We're a national interlock manufacturer serving 30 states. We've been around since the inception of the interlock. The effectiveness of the interlock has been great over the years. Laws have been passed, lives have been saved. The one mission of all interlock companies out there, there are about 8, is to take away the weapon from the driver, that huge weapon we call a car. Advanced technologies have made this more user-friendly and easier to catch alcohol on people's breath. Senator James, as an Interlock representative, we want to thank you for your efforts. They're very much needed. And as in Arizona, as in New Mexico, we can certainly make a difference here in Georgia. Thank you.
On our victim wall, there are many photographs, and our next speaker, his family is on the Mad Georgia victim wall. May I introduce Jason McWilliams, our VIP coordinator from Cobb County and victim speaker today.
Thank you, Cynthia. On July 15th, 2000, my mother, Deborah Hanson, and my grandmother, Ann Majors, were on their way to breakfast. They didn't know at the same time a man and his friend were trying to buy beer at the store down the road. The clerk would not sell them the beer because they were already too drunk. They stormed out of the store and got in their car and stormed off and drove off. They sped up the road, and my mother and grandmother were coming down the road at the same time. They were joking around, talking, just having a good time. The man lost control of his car, hit my mother and grandmother head on. My mother blacked out for a second, came back to, watched my grandmother put her head down and gurgle. My mother watched her mother die in that car. Little did we know that this was not his first DUI offense. 14 months prior, he had had a DUI with his same friend in the car. He did not have a license, he was on probation, and was not supposed to be drinking alcohol. I strongly believe that if he would have had an ignition interlock on his car, I would not have to be here talking about my dead grandmother. I urge you to contact your senators, contact your reps, and have them pass this bill. Tell them this bill needs to be passed. We're losing too many Georgians on these roads due to drunk drivers. Thank you.
The gentleman standing behind me deserved to be able to drive around Atlanta, North Fulton County, without having to worry about a drunk driver hitting them or hitting them when they're riding in a car with their family members, their friends, anyone. I urge everyone to contact their senators to support this bill, Senate Bill 41, not just for the people who have been killed and been injured, but the ones that haven't yet. Thank you.
I would like to call on everyone within the legislative body to support these measures of Senate Bill 41 and Senate Bill 44. This is not a partisan issue. It will affect everyone who drives on the road. And of course, it's costly because it loses lives. And it's no dollar sign on my son's life or any of our loved ones who have already been killed or injured by drunk drivers. At this time, we'd like to take any questions that you may have. You have any questions? If there are no questions, we thank you for your time today. I would be happy to answer questions even after today if you have any. You have any now about DUI? Okay. We'll take any questions in the future, and we are available. I am Senator Donzella James. I'm always here for you, and we will work to make our roads safer. Thank you very much.